Hey there everyone, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Lambers with an update on Hurricane Milton. Now we are still getting these advisory updates from the National Hurricane Center just every 3 hours at this time. So in case you're joining us, just a reminder, we do go live for those updates either on air or if we're not able to do so, if we're not in the middle of a newscast, then we'll do those online. So this is going to be on all of our Fox 10 Gulfstream platforms. That can be Apple TV, Roku, Fire Stick just by downloading the Fox 10 app. That can be downloading the Fox 10 News app right in the palm of your hand on your smartphone, heading to fox10tv.com. Also on our YouTube page, we are live streaming this too, and also our Facebook page. So in case you do have any of those questions for me, I do monitor the comments on the Facebook page, so you can just drop any of those there, and hopefully I can just answer some of those questions that you may have for us. But as mentioned, we did just get a brand new advisory update from the National Hurricane Center, and no surprise, Hurricane Milton is continuing to strengthen at this time. However, it is still a Category 4 hurricane. Milton yesterday was that very strong Category 5 system, and it weakened because of that eyewall replacement cycle that it went through. Now here is going to be the new look. The sustained winds even higher at this time, 155 miles per hour. At that last 10 a.m. advisory update, they were 150. At that 7 a.m. advisory update, they were 145. So between 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., those sustained winds have gone up by 10 miles per hour. Still holding on to that Category 4 strength. Just a reminder, Category 5, it needs to get to 157 miles per hour for those sustained winds. So at this time, it is only 2 miles per hour shy of that. Still tracking east-northeast at 8 miles per hour, continuing just to stay along the northeast side of Progreso, Mexico. But it's nearing that Cat 5 strength. But one of the updates from the National Hurricane Center is that it is expected to continue as that Category 4 hurricane over the next few hours and into tomorrow morning. We start to see some of that weakening taking place just before that landfall approach in central Florida, because of some of that shear and that dry air that it's going to be encountering. Now, just a reminder of why it's weaker right now. It went through that eyewall replacement cycle. That's typically why, on average, Category 5 hurricanes, they don't keep that strength for over 24 hours because they're all going to be going through that eyewall replacement cycle. So it's something that we were expecting and anticipating. So we figured that it would weaken from that. And now we're hopeful that more of that dry air, that shear, will continue to weaken Milton as it tracks further towards the east before making landfall heading into late tomorrow night, early Thursday morning near Tampa. As far as the National Hurricane Center and their track goes, no major changes to that. They're keeping it right near Tampa Bay area, and still bringing in some of those impacts extending through Fort Myers and just a little bit further up north. So some of those areas that are included just in that track, that's going to include Sarasota, Bradenton are included in that. So Fort Myers also, along with Tampa. I was trying to answer some folks' questions earlier for some of those areas that were included in there. Clearwater, Largo, Spring Hill, Lakeland, Northport are all part of Venice, is where, and St. Petersburg there. That's where that cone is really going to still include. But right now that center track hasn't it moved right over Bradenton and Sarasota for that landfall approach. The thing here to keep in mind, don't get too focused on the number, that center track, because those impacts are going to be felt all over central to southern Florida, that peninsula, both the west side and also the east side. Orlando's still going to be feeling those impacts too. Our main concern for the Tampa area is going to be that storm surge that we'll continue to see push up, especially near Tampa Bay, heading further on into tomorrow and into Thursday. Here's a look at the water vapor loop. And this one is going to be important because if you look closer towards where we're located, there's that brownish orangish coloration, and that's going to be dry air in place. That's what's going to help to weaken Milton once we get further along into tomorrow by midday and into the afternoon. It's going to bring in some of that shear with that cold front that moved through and some of that dry air. So it's going to help disrupt that system system just a little bit, making it more of that Category 3/Category 2 storm at landfall. Here's a look at what it looks like on that available moisture. So you can start to see that counterclockwise rotation. It's just wrapping some of that around it. And so that's what's going to be leading to contributing to some of that disruption there. And it'll still continue to track into the Atlantic by the end of the week. As mentioned, one of the main concerns is going to be that storm surge. This is going to be one of those experimental maps, and it's showing Brooksville down through Tampa, Sarasota, Bradenton, St. Petersburg, down towards Inglewood, and even down to Fort Myers. That peak storm surge is intense. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to continue there. We'll actually go back to that. But that peak storm surge, that is going to be closer towards that 12-foot range. Just a reminder, we saw some flooding from Helene in Tampa, and that storm surge was only around 7 to 8 feet. Instead, this is more of calling for that 12+ feet range. And so we'll really start to see some of those significant impacts from that storm surge alone. Meteorologist Matt Barentine was talking about it earlier on Fox 10 News this morning. If you were watching, some of the emergency officials in the state of Florida, one of their worst case scenarios that they always run through in practice is going to be if one of these major hurricanes moves right up Tampa Bay because of that storm surge concern. And that's exactly what we're possibly seeing with Hurricane Milton. So that'll really be something to monitor in case you have any friends, family that live near Sarasota, St. Petersburg, Bradenton, Tampa area. Just make sure you're checking in with them. Hopefully, if they're in those mandatory evacuation zones, then they are leaving. Feel free to open up your home to them. I know Joe, he has some friends down in this area that's going to be hit hard from it. He said that he opened up their door to them. So it's always just going to be the best thing to do. But I've been trying to share some of those on my Facebook page. There's lots online of folks that are either opening up their homes or opening up their land. There's quite a few folks in Baldwin County that if you have an RV or a camper, they're offering for you to come and park it there. Just that way you can escape. They have electric, they have water that you can hook up to free of charge, just so that way in case there are any evacuees, and in case you know anyone, in case anyone watching is one of those evacuees, they need a place to go, just feel free to message us at Fox 10 and we'll be more than happy to put you in touch with some of those resources that we've been seeing online. But a lot of folks coming together to offer just some of those lots, those homes for anyone that is trying to get out of the way of this system. Taking a look at the tropical alerts, almost the entire state of Florida is under those alerts once again. Tropical storm warnings more on the southern portion of the peninsula, but even the Big Bend region back in those warnings. This time mainly just the tropical storm warnings, tropical storm watches. That's going to include areas just near Georgia and also the Carolinas for the coastal areas where they could still feel some of those tropical storm impacts. And then for central Florida, where you kind of see that brighter red coloration, that's going to be that hurricane warning. So that's where those hurricane and tropical storm force conditions will be felt. As mentioned, the Big Bend region once again under some of those alerts, but here locally, nothing for here locally, nothing for us. Here's what our conditions look like here locally. It's calm, it's quiet, we have sunshine. The only disruptions that we're seeing is going to be to our local beaches. The rip current risk, they are high for today, but they're still looking pleasant down at our local beaches. During Helene, our surf was a lot more rough in comparison to what we're seeing right now. Still, please make sure that you're being cautious at our local beaches, as the rip current risk will continue to stay high for today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Always know the name of the specific beach you're located on, where the closest lifeguard stand is, and also pay close attention to those beach flags. Now, I did want to go ahead and talk about our forecast here locally just a little bit. So heading into the rest of today, really we have some nice conditions ahead of us. Temperatures maxing out in the mid 80s. We're going to see sunshine. We're going to see clear skies. Again, we had that cold front move through last night. It's helping to push Milton away from us. And so with that cold front, we're also experiencing some of that dry air. If you notice that difference this morning, it felt great out there. Dew points in the 50s and in the 60s. It was much more refreshing out there. And so our morning temperatures will start to drop over the next few days. Once Milton emerges back out into the Atlantic and that cold front can fully push through, then our morning temperatures will also fall in the wake of that. And so we're going to be waking up Friday and Saturday really in the lower to mid to even upper 50s, mixed with some of that low humidity. Will be below average to begin. And so we're really going to feel nice to start off Friday and Saturday, even Sunday mornings across the Gulf Coast. Here centrally in in the Gulf Coast. But here is a look at our 7-day forecast for Mobile, Pensacola, the Foxton viewing area. We have mid to upper 80s today and tomorrow. We have sunshine and staying dry. Once we get towards the end of the week and the weekend, that's when our temperatures really begin to fall. Where they should be this time of year will be near average with some more refreshing mornings, but we are staying dry through next week. Even then, our local beaches, they'll start to improve heading into this weekend. So we have a nice forecast here locally. It's mainly just to our friends and our neighbors further towards the southeast that we're going to be thinking of them and checking in on them at this time as Hurricane Milton does continue to approach closer towards that landfall. So again, here is an update in case you missed it at the top of this Facebook Live. We did get that new advisory update from the National Hurricane Center at 1 p.m. Hurricane Milton still holding on to that Category 4 strength. The sustained winds 155 miles per hour. It is 2 miles per hour shy of becoming just that Category 5 hurricane once again. So if we see that, that'll be the question once we get closer towards 4 p.m. Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith will have that update live for you on air again at 4 p.m. We are continuing to get these every 3 hours, but we'll have more again coming up at 4, but also I'll be live on Fox 10 Live beginning at 3 o'clock. We'll have more details on what we're tracking in the tropics and also more details on our local forecast. We'll keep you updated right here on Fox 10. Just a reminder in case you weren't able to make this Facebook Live. When I was live, you can still go ahead and just drop in some of your questions there, and I'll try and go back on the Facebook Live and answer them if I'm able. We'll continue to keep you updated on relief efforts from Helene and also soon to be Milton once it makes landfall tomorrow evening near Central Florida. We'll keep you updated on fox10tv.com.